I feel like sometimes what we don't often realize about life and the problems that we face in life is the fact that your avoidance is more harmful than the problem itself. Because this is exactly what happens. Like everyone else, you get put in a situation where you may go through something, and you not wanting to face it only leads to the escalation of it. Problems are something that can grow bigger if you ignore them for long enough. That's why I feel like it's very important to gain a sense of courage with the things that we're choosing to entertain and the things that we're choosing to do in our lives so that we don't have to run from these problems even when they may present themselves in our lives. We feel as if it's something small that we could just brush under the rug, but what we don't often realize, just because it seemed small in that very moment does not mean that it can't grow. Even the smallest problems, the smallest things that you go through in your life at some point, if you don't deal with them, will eventually grow and become a major issue. And these major issues are going to require more of your time, more of your energy, and more of your resources later on during life to try and fix them. Because a lot of the times in the moment, what we don't realize is facing that problem is what's going to lead to our overall growth. You being able to accept whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's good or bad, is going to help you develop into a better person. There hasn't been one hardship that I went through in my life where I didn't come out on the other side more wise, stronger, whatever the case may be. You learn from the things that you go through. Each and every day, if you get put through something that you may have never experienced before, you're going to come out on the other side with more wisdom so that you can use this wisdom in the future if you're ever put in the same situation and thrive. And this also ties into love, because a lot of the times what ends up happening for a lot of people is we get comfortable. And I don't even necessarily want to call it love, because I feel like love is often misused these days. It's just that feeling of not necessarily wanting to be alone, not being able to remove yourself out of certain people's lives when you know that they're not providing you any value. You just don't know how to be alone. You just don't know how to be uncomfortable for long periods of time and allow yourself that time that's needed to heal and to grow. But whether it's right now, whether you keep pushing the problems under the rug and ignoring them, at some point it is going to require much more for you to let go. And things like this are much easier said than done, but at some point you have to choose you. There's not enough love in the world for me to put myself in a position to jeopardize, my overall peace and my well-being. On top of that, the boundaries that you may set and things of that sort. If somebody is not respecting that, then you have no choice but to just let them go. And our body will tell us everything that we need to know, because I know a lot of y'all can relate. No matter what it is that you go through, you will get gut feelings. You may even get a single thought that's placed on your mind, and this is really just your body trying to warn you, because you probably shouldn't be in that position. But what we do is we ignore it and we find out the hard way. So save yourself the time. If this sounds like something that you're in, if it's a relationship that you're trying to get out of, or you're trying to figure out how to remove yourself out of, you need to practice more self-love. You need to practice being alone and seeking something much greater than this version of love that you're so desperately seeking, because there's much more to life than just being in love. And not only just in love, but this can happen in life in general, because a lot of people are genuinely afraid to fail. Some people avoid putting themselves in a position where they could potentially not come out successful because they don't know how to deal with that feeling of failure. They don't know how to look themselves in the mirror and accept that they're human and overcome that. But I'm going to tell you one way that I personally learned how to overcome this, and it's simply by understanding how human you are. Think about anything that you may have done in your life where it required a ton of energy and you had to build your way up to the top. All of these things required some sort of journey, and on that journey it was probably not perfect. You had times where you may have failed. You had times where things may have been hard. You had times where you felt like the human being you are imperfect. So therefore, you should not be afraid to fail. And a lot of people are, it's just because they're afraid what people are going to say about them. But at the end of the day, the same people that'll voice their opinions on your failure are the same people that's probably afraid to go out and do the things that you're doing. The same people looking from the outside in that have so much to say about what you're doing are the same people that do not have the courage to go out and take that risk. If something does not work, it does not matter, because I promise you, it is not failure. You going out and facing it and not avoiding being comfortable or allowing yourself to stay stagnant is the real catch. But this form of avoiding a problem might give you temporary relief. And this is something that's often overlooked because that temporary feeling is in so many different things that we have going on around us. It could be in social media, it can be in relationships and just dating around. You get a temporary thrill from a lot of these things when your dopamine levels spike up. But this, just because it feels good in that very moment, does not mean that it's good for you. But we need to learn how to properly manage our stress levels in a healthy way. And even if you are somebody that's running from this feeling of stress that you may be faced with, if you're put in a position to try something new or to get out of your comfort zone, no matter what you do in life, it's going to happen anyways. So why not let it happen when you're in a position where you're trying to change your life and get somewhere? Because I don't know about y'all, but I would much rather be stressed out on my journey trying to take care of my family and trying to provide for the people I love than be stressed out in a position where I'm just comfortable, because now I'm living with the guilt of not getting up and doing something with my life. But that underlying stress and anxiety usually builds up. It is going to build up. It is going to be present regardless. Whether you're stuck, whether you're in a position where you don't necessarily know what to do with life, you're going to be stressed out either way. So you might as well be stressed while you're striving to overcome certain challenges that you need to be faced with in life that's going to help you get to that next level. But the problem that you may be faced with right now sometimes isn't even necessarily the problem. The problems that we allow ourselves to be so fixated on are nothing more than fears. It's nothing more than us projecting whatever it is that we feel inside into our realities, and now we're scared to go take that leap of faith because of things that we allowed to develop and foster in our minds. But if you're avoiding problems in your personal, especially in your professional life, it can lead to misunderstandings, resentment, and a breakdown over time. And this is something that happened to me. It wasn't necessarily the misunderstanding part, but it was the breakdown over time. Because at some point, everything that you avoid is going to be bottled up. Just think of you putting all of your fears, everything that you may be insecure about, in a bottle. And at some point, that bottle is going to be overfilled. You need to face it, whatever you're scared of. Really make a list of everything that scares you. And I'm talking about everything that you could possibly fear in this life. Aside from, of course, you probably not being on this earth anymore, but let's just say you're afraid of being single, you're afraid of being broke, you're afraid of, confrontation. You need to gain the knowledge and the wisdom on all three of these things, or whatever they may be for you, so that you're familiarized with it and it's no longer a fear. You shouldn't be afraid of anything, because anything can happen in life and you have to be prepared at all moments, at all times. But the last one I want to get into is how it has such a negative impact on your mental health. When you avoid the things that you should be facing in your life, whether it's you being alone, whether it's you going out and doing something with your life, at some point it is going to affect you mentally. And when this happens, you can often spread this form of negativity on those that you have around you, because you're living with these deep insecurities within yourself. Now it's impacting you mentally. Now you can't focus at work. Now you can't go out and do the things that you want to do, because now you feel very low of yourself, because you know that you should be further. You need to confront the problems that you have directly. Sometimes it's better to do things alone, even at moments where we feel like we don't need to. Even at moments where we may feel like we need a helping hand, sometimes all we really need is ourselves to get a grip of what we have going on in our lives. So it's not always about what you have around you or who you have around you. Sometimes it's about looking yourself in the mirror and realizing that I'm the solution to my problems, and I have to stop avoiding them. But if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much. It's your boy Blue Jay Tay. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.